Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm Gio, as you guys know. Today we are back for round 4 at K1 Circuit for the semi-pro series. We're in the adult division and this is light class. So here for this race, no rain this time actually, but there was only enough for one group, so this is automatically just A, which is good for us. We were able to qualify P3. We didn't really get the best kart in qualifying. First kart, we did really well, but then the track really warmed up during second qualifying. And not to mention, we actually have a different track this time. This is Pro Track with chicanes, so now we have D1, D2 on the original straights. And now instead of going through the middle section, we actually cut through 8 and 9 now, and there's like a little chicane before we head down to 10 and on to that backstretch. So that'll make this race very interesting, changes up the feel of the track massively. You kind of have to go about it differently, especially coming into these S's. You don't really have as much speed coming into them, but you come at it at a really awkward angle. So it'll be interesting to see how the racing changes here. And also, because you're cutting out that middle section, now we have so much faster lap time, so we don't actually have as much time on track now to compete and really fight for those positions. So you got to really make everything count, push as hard as you can, and like you just got to push for it. But yeah, so here we are coming through that chicane that I was talking about just a moment ago. Onto that backstretch, just warming up our tires, making sure that we're all good, getting a feel for the kart. You know, every time we jump in, we only really have one lap to figure out what is going on with this kart until really the moment comes. So now we're kind of just waiting here, adjusting our gloves, making sure that we're comfortable. And I'll skip ahead here in a moment, but round 4 for the championship. There's only 6 rounds for the semi-pro series, so only 2 left. One more in May, another one in June, and then we get to crown a champion. Hopefully we can be at the end of that. Coming into this race though, I believe we are starting either 7th or 8th in the points. So we really got to hope for a good finish here. Luckily, we're starting P3. Right in front of us, we have Ryan Noon, and to the left of him, we have Jaden Martinez. 2 very fast guys here. Ryan Noon, I believe, is 3rd in the championship at this point. So we really just got to figure out how to get ahead of him, how to get ahead of Jaden as well, and give ourselves the best performance possible. Here on the green, we make a great jump, make it 3 wide coming into turn 1. We kind of have to let Martinez go. Coming up to the inside, and we don't expect Ryan to check up that soon, so we accidentally give him a really big hit there. Coming through here, we kind of get sucked to the side and kind of give another bump to Ryan there. We're kind of holding it up the inside of this corner, trying to drag it out wide, and we're side by side coming into the second set of chicanes, down into the S's, and he just is able to carry a little bit more speed onto the entrance of the corner, retakes the position, and now we're on the attack again. Now we're just trying to get a good exit here. Not the best, kind of lose a lot of the kart's exit speed. Coming up right on the back of him, just lunge it on the brakes, try and make sure that we're keeping it as close as possible. We were able to carry a lot of good exit speed coming out of that chicane into turn 10, get a great exit. And now we're just trying to use that slipstream, and here we can see that we just really get sucked in. So now we're coming out alongside, using that side draft a little bit to kind of slow them down, up into P2, down into turn 11, and onto the front straight. And now we have P2 for the race. Kind of a crazy lap, a lot of fighting. Up alongside, we can kind of see there's another guy along beside us. Or you can't really see it on the video, but there's another guy beside us that was also trying to make a move there. And now it's just about, with all that battling that we have with Ryan, now we have to catch Jaden. We're on the offensive. We're on the chase. We need to go for it now. I kind of look behind to see where the guy behind us is at. I believe it is Sergio behind us. And so now we're just trying to get him to work with us. Try not to cause too much battling on this track, but now it's really just we got to get our head down, focus up, hit our marks, and pull him in closer, try and force him into a mistake. But something that we start figuring out is that our kart really does not have too much straight line. Coming down the straightaway, we can kind of see Jaden just kind of start pulling away, and so we have to really make up a lot of our time in the corners. Coming through here, we're kind of late on the brakes, but even though we have a little bit of a missed apex there, run it out a little wide, and just kind of get our head down, making sure that we can kind of keep up as best as possible. On to lap 3, still in P2. We set a 62.558 this time, so that really just shows you how quick this track is in comparison to the others. Even with that chicane, even with these S's here, I mean, really, we're what normal times are around 76s, 77s. So yeah, I mean, we're about 15 seconds faster, which is kind of insane thinking about that. Or not 15, 13 seconds faster, 13 to 15 seconds faster, depending on the kart. And so yeah, now coming through the chicane again, this was really a fun section of the track. I heard some of the employees talking about that during the season and maybe into next season as well. They're kind of gonna swap up the configuration on us during the races, which would be very interesting. It'll definitely make the racing very fun. With you know, it'll be less of somebody conquering the track and more about how you can adapt and, you know, change up the corners and everything. So even when things aren't going the best, or if it's with a, you know, a part of the track that you're not really familiar with, you know, it'll give other people advantages over others, and you really got to make sure that you're focused on those practice sessions throughout the weekend, the qualifying sessions, making the most of it. And it's really just who can learn the track, who's the better driver, and who can make the most of the sessions they're given. Here we can see we're kind of missing more. we're kind of closing up that gap on Jaden, although he's still very far out. That battling with Ryan at the start was really a little too much. Just a little bit too much for our liking. But yeah, now it's just focusing in. Another thing that's very nice about this weekend is the next week will be the national championship race. So we're really making sure that we can capitalize on this weekend's performance and just making sure that we can collect as much data on the karts, on the track, making sure that we are pushing as hard as we can to set decent times, and then really seeing where we can improve with this footage later. And so, you know, another thing to take into account too is Jaden in front of us is also competing in the national championship. So we got to look out on what he's doing, how we can change up what he's doing as well. And it's really just, you know, we just got to make the most of this performance. So yeah, coming down on the start finish straight again into 2 and 3, really just letting the kart run wide. We set a 62.442 last lap, so, you know, the decent laps. We're starting to get a little bit quicker, but Jaden, we're kind of pulling in Jaden a little bit, but we only have a few laps left. We really got to make the most out of it here. And we're really just pushing hard. We're kind of seeing behind us too. We're checking behind us on those front straights and the couple of the corners where you can kind of get a good look around. Sergio behind us is really catching up. He's pretty much right on us. He's not letting us run, but he's also working with us a little bit to try and make sure that if we have a chance of catching Jaden, we're making the most of it, and that we can both catch him and hopefully make the most of that position as well. Coming down this back straight now, just getting that duck in, making sure that we're kind of reducing that drag around turn 11. Not using as much of the track there as we really should be, but down into lap 6 now, up into turns 1, 2, and 3. Set a 62.648 that last lap, so not the best. Not the worst either, though. We're still catching Jaden a little bit. We can see that definitely the corners are our strong suit, but coming out into those long straights, we really don't have much contest. No, he doesn't have much competition there for sure. So we have to really push in these corners as much as possible and just get a good exit onto the straight so we're losing the least amount of time as possible. But yeah, this track was definitely pretty interesting for racing. That chicane definitely slowed it up a little, a lot. It kind of broke up the momentum throughout the track, and so it definitely gave a nice point for us to kind of reset if we didn't have the best lap going for us. But then it was also a good opportunity for qualifying, especially if you were catching some slower drivers. You could really just send it in there without losing too much time. There definitely was a time loss, but not too much. Here we come to the final lap. Our last lap was a 62.488. Really, it's not looking like we're going to catch Jaden unless he has a mess up there, so we're just keeping it clean. We know that we have Sergio hounding on us behind, so we're just trying to hit our marks, keep it clean, don't give him an opening. But his kart is definitely pretty quick, especially on the straight line since we're lacking. So we just need to keep dragging it out through the corners, make the most of it on those straightaways, just get as best of an exit as possible. Here we come out through the S's. just trying to catch whatever little bit of a toe there is from behind Jaden there into the chicane, down into turn 10, not 11, my apologies, onto the back straight, just catching a little bit of that toe. We know Sergio's right on the back of us. He's catching up ever so slightly, so we just need to make sure that we're not giving him any room. Into turn 11, here we go. Now it's just a drag race down to the finish. We can actually see out of the corner, we can see a little bit of a bumper peek out just as we enter turn 1. It was a really close fight, but we finished up in P2 with a 62.3 to finish off the race. And here we kind of give Sergio a thumbs up and a bump. But now here we are with the Semi-Pro Series Light Class Adult Division standing. So we have Sergio Caballero in first with 96 points, Jake Krigish in second with 85, Ryan Noon in third with 83 points, and then actually me and Ethan Chen are tied for fourth right now, both with 80. So going into the next round, we really need to make sure we capitalize. We're looking for all the best opportunities, and I mean, we don't know what can happen. Anything can happen. I know in the first round I was taken out from the lead. In the second round I really made a mistake and it lost me a decent amount of points. But we know we have the speed. Going into the next couple rounds, we just need to make sure that we're pushing as hard as we can, making sure that we are finishing ahead of those guys, but also we want to make sure that a few of other people are finishing ahead of them as well. But good race altogether. Hopefully it'll lead into a good weekend next weekend. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.